Please just give me confirmation, guys. Okay, thank you. So let's get started. So I hope all of you guys have installed the VS Code. The last class we were talking about dictionary, right? And then we have started if else loop, if else condition, sorry. It will be really useful once we'll start building our, scripts for networking devices for configuring Cisco routers and switches. We will be using it at that time. So make sure that you have installed VS Code. Yes, guys. Justice, Suma. Okay, great. And you, Justice? You haven't installed the VS Code yet? Okay, okay. Yeah, you will finish in 5 minutes, but it's better you install it because it is required for practice. All right. So today, first of all, we'll discuss about FL's conditions. Okay. So we'll have 45-minute session, guys. Not much because that would be enough to understand Python today, and you'll get some time to practice. Okay, we are not in any hurry to finish this class. So yeah, we'll take our time and we'll understand. I hope you can see the notepad or drawing. Hello. Okay, okay, sure. Actually, I just want acknowledgement from you so that if I'm sharing my screen and if it's not visible, then you know there would be problem. So if I ask you, please give me the confirmation. Okay. So first of all, we'll start with if else condition, and if we'll have time, then we'll also start with for loop. So in Python we have loops, for loop and while loop. We'll talk about that also. But first of all, let's talk about if else condition. And then we use very heavily in our Python scripts when we'll be configuring Cisco devices, Cisco routers, Cisco switches. At that time also we will be using these if else conditions. If else conditions. Okay. So when we talk about if else conditions, you can put if else or if elif and else. So we have if, we have else if, and we also have if else. So else will be in the last. Okay, we'll explore it. So they have some common logical conditions we have in Python. Like if you want to check something as equals, so in Pythons you know that you will use, remember guys, you will use double equal sign. If you want to see that something is equal or not, you will use double equal sign. and we use single equal to assign a value. Let's say if I'm assigning a variable, if I say a is equal to 10, so it means that a is a variable having a value 10, right? And if you put a double equal, it means that you're just trying to check it, is it equal to or not. So double equal sign means equal to. Then we can have not equal. Okay, in not equal you can have a, then you can use this sign to check. We have less than here, a less than b. Okay, we can have greater than, if you want to check it is greater than or not. And I have a very perfect example for this. Once we'll start discovering the Telnet library, at that time I'll explain you that how does it make difference or how it can be used. I'll be creating, you know, 100 of loopbacks. Have you ever configured a loopback on Cisco devices, guys, or any device? Loopback interface, right? So what we do, loopback interface is a virtual interface. Let's say interface loopback 1, and then we configure IP address 10.1.1.1.255.255.0 and exit. Now let's say I want to check OSPF behavior, and for OSPF behavior I want to have 1000 loopbacks. I want to have 1000 loopbacks on the router and I want to advertise them in OSPF. So now how would you be creating 100 loopbacks one by one? That would be it'll take hours to create 1000 loopbacks on a router or on a switch. So I'll be using what? I'll be using there some for loops. I'll be using these less than equal to or greater than equal to. There are some conditions we'll be using there, and using these conditions we will be creating hundred or thousands of loopback. I'll show you, but first we have to understand the fundamentals here. You can have greater than, then you can have less than equal to. So for less than equal to we have less than or equal to a b, if you want to check less than equal to. And then if you have greater than or equal to, for that you have the sign this greater than or equal to. So you can have this. These are the options we can have in if else conditions. Okay, if else conditions. Now I'll say, okay, if else is okay, that's great, but what is this elif? So now let's come here, and once we'll start practically, it will make more sense. Let's say I have two numbers. Again, a is equal to 10, b is equal to 20. There was an option to increase the font size. Actually, I forgot where it is. I think it's in the manage settings. No, not here. Yeah, here it is, font size. Is it okay now? Font size. Okay. A is equal to 10, B is equal to 20, let's say. I want to check if A is greater than B. Now, guys, have you noticed one thing? Usually everything is in one line when we write something, but this time you see that we have four spaces. How many spaces do we have? Four spaces. Okay. What do we call it? Any guesses? We call it indentation. What we call it? Indentation. Okay. So in case of Python, when you use this if else conditions or you're creating for loop while loop, so you want to put that thing in under that rule. If you do something like this, print A is greater than B. So you know what happens? Nothing will happen here. Because this if condition will only be executed on this command print if there is a indentation. There's a four spaces. So either you can use 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces, or you can use the tab keyword. But it should be in the indentation. Otherwise, this if else condition will not be executed. Okay, make sense? Else print B is less than or A is less than B. So I said if condition A is greater than B. Okay. Otherwise, put it this. So now you notice once I'll say output, it's printing A is less than B. What if A is equal to B, guys? So I want to have three conditions, or if I want to have four conditions, five conditions, yes or no? So you have to use EL if A is equal to B, print A is equal to B. I want to print EL if A is less than B. That is also a condition here, right? Print A is less than B. So I want to have multiple conditions. So first condition, it will always start from if, and last it will always be else. If you want to have certain conditions in between, you have to use what? Repeat after me, guys. You have to repeat, or you have to put else if. Okay. Hello. Makes sense? There's a difference, guys. If it starts with the if condition and it ends with the else condition, but what if I have multiple conditions in between? So you have to use else if. If I run this, what output I'm getting? A is less than B. The third one. Sorry. So you always has to use. Sorry. Yes. Multiple conditions, right? Well, say okay. What if we have only one condition? Do we need to use the indentation in that case? No, you don't need to use indentation in that case. Let's say if I have just one condition here, I don't want to put else if conditions, then I can put it in the same line also. I don't have to use indentation in that case. Print A is greater than B, or you can say, okay, if I say this, it is not printing anything at all, because you know that it's not true. A is not greater than B. If I make it 30 and if I run this script again, it will print out this A is greater than B. That's true now. So if you have just one condition, you can put it in the same line. If you have multiple conditions, then it is supposed to use the indentation. You're supposed to use indentation in that case. Sometimes you will see something like this. Let's say again A is 10. So you tell me guys, is this statement true or not? Is this statement true or false? It's a false, right? So I can say this is also true. Else print A is less than B. Sorry. Okay. Not this. Sorry. So it is for one condition only. If you have multiple conditions, then we have to use the indentation in that case. Now what if I have multiple numbers? Instead of two numbers, I have three numbers. A, B, C is equal to 30. I want to check two things. I want to check what? I want to check if A is less than B and B is less than C, then what? If A is less than B and I want to check C less than B, so I can say and B is less than C. Print both conditions are true. Else print none of the condition is true. Let's execute this. None of the condition is true. Why? Because B is not greater than C. B is less than C. So if I put B is less than C, you'll get both conditions are true. So in case of if else conditions, we have the concept of AND. AND keyword is used to combine multiple conditional statements. If you want to combine multiple conditional statements, you can use the AND keyword here in case of a if else condition. So we can use this AND keyword here. So you know in Python, sorry, not in Python, in mathematics we have AND operations, we have OR operations like this. So we can use them in if else statements. You know how we'll be using it in our real-time scripts, in networking scripts. Let's say we have a list of devices. Okay, 192.168 1.1, 192 168 1.2.1. These are my routers. Or 1.2, 192.168 1.3. Okay guys, this is a list of my routers in the network. Now what I want, now tell me guys, I want to execute a Python script on all of these routers. Okay, what is the first requirement? What should we check first? Agree or not? We must check the connectivity first. So I can use then if else condition. I can say if devices are reachable, push this script. So under the if conditions we'll have that if devices are not reachable, abort the operator. Yes or no? So I can use if else condition there. I can say if my devices are reachable, you will push this script. If they are not reachable, then you'll have to abort the operation, because where you will push the script if the devices are not there. If the devices are not there, so I can use this if else condition there. So there are, a lot of use of applications for if else condition when you are using it in Python. Make sense? Now again, I don't want you guys to do the rote learning, so that's why I've already shared the book with you, and in that book we have if else conditions also, or we have if else exercise as well. Printing, variable, else if. Let's say we have people 30, cars 40, buses 15. If cars is greater than people, print we should take the cars. If we have cars more than the people, we should take the cars. Else if, because I want multiple conditions. If cars are less than people, we should not take the cars, or else we can't decide. Likewise again, if buses are greater than cars, that's too many buses. Else if buses less than cars, maybe we took take the buses. Else print we still can't decide. So you can see here, try to guess what else if and else are doing. Change the number of cars, people and buses, and then trace through each if statement to see what will be printed. So these are the most common questions asked. What happens if multiple else if blocks are true? Python starts at the top and runs the first block that is true, so it will run only the first one. Means inside this else if you have multiple things as true, then it will only run one of them. Making decisions, again if else conditions, else if conditions, else conditions. So else will come at the last where you are not putting any conditions. Notice, if you notice guys, that's why I'm showing you here. We have this. See, I put a condition here, right? If door is equal to 1, then I put condition if else if door is equal to 2. But at the end I don't want to put any conditions. So when you don't want to put any conditions, that time you will be using what? Which keyword? Else keyword. At that time you will be using the else keyword here. Make sense? So that's how we have the else if option. So if you want to put multiple conditions, you'll be using else if, and you just want to have two conditions, if and else is enough. Because in case of else we don't put any condition. Else is like, okay, This is what you're gonna get at the end. And you notice one more thing. Inside if, we are using if conditions. Inside if, you can also use if conditions. Inside if, we can have if statements if you want. Let's say in this case, if door is equal to 1, print there is a giant bear here eating a cheesecake. What do? Print 1, take the cake. Print 2, scream at the bear. Bear, you can ask for the input. If bear is equal to 1, the bear eats you face off, good job. Else if bear eats your legs off, good job. Else print well doing is probably better, bear runs away. So now in this case, what I'm doing here, inside one condition I'm putting other conditions. Let's say if we go here and we do this, we have one number, a is equal to 10. Okay, I want to say if, now see, it's case sensitive guys. If you'll say if, I is in capital, it's not gonna do anything at all. Please be careful. Okay, it should be if a is greater than 10, print yes, a is greater than 10. What if, sorry, what if a is not greater than 10? If a is less than 10, print yes, a is less than 10. Else print none of the conditions are true. In this case, you see we have indentation. This time it is not part of the main if condition, it is part of inside this condition. So we can have if statement inside if statement, and this is called nested statements. If we execute this, sorry, are we getting anything at all? First condition is a is greater than 10. No, a is not greater than 10. Then if a is less than 10, yes, a is less than 10. No, a is not also less than 10. Then else print none of the conditions are true. Why it's not printing that? Because we haven't mentioned the number here which is something true. If I make it a is equal to, let's say, 20, and then we run this script again, yes, a is greater than 10, then it is also gonna check this also, none of the conditions are true. So it will be executing multiple statements. This time if they exist inside the if else statement, multiple possibilities are there. A is greater than 10, no, A is less than 10, yes, else print none of the conditions are true. So in this we don't put multiple statements, we want to check what, you see what I'm doing here, I'm checking it less than, no, you have to stay what, you have to make it this, and now sorry not this, is equal to let's say 20. Yes, A is now equal to 20. Let's execute this time. A is greater than 10. Yes, A is equal to 20 also. So what I'm doing here, and what you have to understand is, we can put conditions but only they must be true. So if you want to have something, or if you want to check certain numbers against multiple statements or multiple options, you can put if inside if statement. If inside if statement, that is also possibilities there in case of Python. If statements inside if statements. Okay, yes please. If I say, if we go back, this was the condition earlier, right? So yeah, now you notice it is gonna print it only something which is applicable in this case. Yes, what is this condition is saying? A is greater than 10. Yes, it's true. Or either this is true, but this is not true here. Why? Because A is not less than 10. So we use if inside if to check something against multiple options, and it will only print out which is true. It will only print out, yeah, yeah. This is nested, if else nested, yes. Inside if else condition, yes. So here we have this if else condition in Python, which is very useful in our scripts also, when we'll be creating script for Python to configure our network devices, to configure our network devices. Okay, any question here from the list, sorry, from the if else conditions? Okay, now after this guys, we have very important concept here, which is known as for loop or loops. You might be familiar with switching loops, or you might be familiar with routing loops, right? Whenever we have a loop in the network, are you familiar with these keyword loops? Like in layer 2 network, we are using Lisp, STP to prevent loops, spanning tree protocol. In layer 3, we are using TTL value. So what happens in that case? In that case, a certain condition is looping again and again. If you have the packet, that packet is forwarded again and again and again and again, and it creates a loop in the topology. Likewise, in Python, if we have a list of elements and I want my Python script to be executed as per the number of elements in the list. Now let's say if we have a list here, vendors. Cisco, Juniper. I'll give you one example and then it'll make sense. Palo Alto, checkpoint. So I have four elements in this vendors. How I want to print? I want to print all of them. How I can print, guys? I can say print vendors. If I'll execute this, sorry, is there any problem? Oh yeah. In the print we have not the this sign, we have the parenthesis, not the brackets. Cisco, Juniper, Palo Alto, checkpoint. What I want them to be printed one by one. So if I want to be them printed one by one, I'll say print vendors 0, right? Then I'll say print vendors 1, print vendors 2, and then print vendors 3, right? Cisco, Juniper, Palo Alto, checkpoint. Is it correct, guys? Yes or no? Execute it. So it will print out Cisco, Juniper, Palo Alto, checkpoint. Now let's say I have 100 components or 100 elements in a list. Is it possible to print it out something like this? It's very time taking, right? So what we can do here, I can see for loop. Now guys, we have to assign a value here. That is just a element. Okay, when you want to loop through a list, or you want to loop through a string, you want to loop through a tuple, the for loop is applicable to everyone. Okay, so you have to use a element here. Let's say if I say for x in vendors, you have to use the colon, and again it will go with indentation. Okay, print x. Now what I'm saying here, x, if you notice guys, do we have defined x in this script? What x is defining here this time? X is just a value which does not hold anything, but it is gonna match against this vendor. First x is this, then second x is this, third x is this. So first we were using what? We were using a indexing, right? So now it is gonna work like this. For x in vendors means we have elements in the vendors list and I want to print them. If I run this, you just notice here, I'll remove this part now and I'll say print. Is it printing out everything? Is it right? If you see that Cisco, Juniper, Palo Alto, checkpoint. Initially we were doing it like this, using these four statements 0, 1, 2, 3, but I'm not using this anymore. I'm just saying what, for x in vendors, print x. It means that you have to go to the list vendors and you have to print the elements x, x, x. So basically x is not a value here, x is just a character. You can use any character here. You can say for ABC in vendors, let's say. So you can say print ABC. So it will go to the vendors list each time and it will keep printing it. So now if I say ABC, so guys, this X, ABC, XYZ, you can use any value here. This is just gonna do it against the list. You'll say, okay, is it applicable to list only or is it applicable to tuple and all other types? Yes, it's applicable to other data types also. If I turn it to a tuple, let's say, and if I do it again, it's printing out. If I make it a set, that's how we create a set, right? Remember, it's gonna print it out. Juniper, Cisco, Palo Alto, Checkpoint. The only difference is that there will be no sequence. There will be no sequence. Sorry. See, you can do it like this. You can do it here. Try it this like this. I say vendor hello 1. Okay. I say this. Then I'll say vendor 2 Juniper. Let's have only 2 vendors here. If we try to do something like this, not equal to sign, it should be the colon, right? If I say print ABC and vendors, let's see what output we're gonna get here. Vendor 1, vendor 2, because it is gonna print the sequential order. It's not gonna print the whole thing here. It just don't need the indexing. It will go through the first and then it will go through the second statement, but it is not gonna print your vendor names, the Cisco and Juniper. Understand the difference? Yeah, only the keys. You'll say, okay, by default it print keys, right? What if I want to print both? Or if I want to put the values, is it possible to get the values? Yes, it is possible to get the values also. How? Let's say if we create one more for condition, for value, I'm just giving it a name. Okay, you can just put it like this in vendors dot values, and you can say print value. If I run this time, it is printing out Cisco and Juniper also. If I just remove this, let's say I say for values in vendors, for values in vendors dot values, because vendors is what? Vendors is a dictionary, right? In dictionary we have key and values. So if instead of this, if I put it like this, for value in vendors dot, if I want to see the keys, because inside a dictionary we have keys also, so you can say print value, but you can this time you can define it as key also to make it significant. Now I can print separately. I can print Cisco Juniper and I can print vendor also. You'll say, okay, what if I want to print the keys and name both? So then they'll be considered as items. How many minutes do we have here? Showing 8 minutes. Okay, that would be enough for today. So we have let's say for key and value. This time I've defined two variables in what? In vendors. So this time I'll be using which keyword? Item. The whole thing is known as item here. In this, inside a dictionary we have key and value. So whole thing is known as an item. Okay, so you can say vendors items. I want to check items this time, in which we have key and as well as we have the values. Print key value. Let's try to execute this if we don't get any error, but we're gonna get an error message here. Key and value. I think we have to use yes, this is an invalid syntax. Hello, I'm audible. I thought my Wi-Fi is gone. That's why it's a problem with Google Meet. It's only showing 5 more minutes. Yeah, earlier there was no such problem in Google Meet. Yes. Sorry, guys. So we have to put parentheses here, like this. It should be working. Yeah. because it's treating it as strings. You can see print key. No, it's not would be like this. For key and value in vendors, vendor is in capital B, right? That's correct. Dot items. We're missing something here. Print key values. It's possible as long as I remember. Sorry. Print value. I don't think it's gonna work like this. Print value. Sorry. Okay. Now it's working. But it should work like this also. We can have it like this. Key. Well, yeah. Now it's working. So if we'll put it like this, key and value, then we don't have to use the colon here. We can just use the comma. Then it will print out values here. If I run it again, you see that for the first time it is only printing the values. Then it is printing the keys, and then it is printing both things. It is printing vendor as well as it's printing, sorry, it's printing the key and values both. It is printing key and values both. Okay. Hello guys, that's the last minute, so we have to start the meeting again. Okay guys, I'm audible. Okay, so now this is how we can execute the for loop in a list, in a tuple, as well as in a dictionary. Okay, so in dictionary we have three operations. Either you can just print out the keys, you can print out the values, or you can print out both things. All right, makes sense. Yeah, so we can execute this for loop on a list, on a tuple, on a set, as well as in a dictionary. And this is going to be very useful in upcoming classes. You'll say, okay, what if we have a list? Okay, if we have a list, let's say vendors. Okay, again we have a list: Cisco, Juniper, Palo Alto, Checkpoint, HP. Then how many items do we have in this list, guys? 6, right? They have indexing also. They have indexing like 0, 1, 2, 3, right? Now I can say for x in vendors 0, 3, print x. If I execute this, let's say, for x in range or vendors dot 0, 1, 2. So in, sorry, okay, we can apply it to a list also, but in this case, first of all, understand the range keyword here. In for loop, we have a range keyword. Let's say I want to have a counting till 100. So if I run this, it is gonna print out values from 0 to 99. So first of all, you notice that you remember indexing, guys. If I put 100, it means that 100 is not gonna be included. If I put 100, it means that 100 is not gonna be included. Remember? So if I want to have it 100, this is what we're gonna use at the time of creating loopbacks. I'll be using for range there or keyword. Now I want to use the same range inside a list. I have a list. In list, I have a lot of elements, right? In this, my list, I want to use it. So I can use it like this. If I want to know the indexing of all the elements, print whatever the length of the vendors. I have a range, right? Inside this vendor list, I have values. I have values like Cisco, Juniper, Palo Alto, Checkpoint, HP, Dell. If I execute this, how many elements do we have? Total 6, but this is going up to 5. This is going up to 5. 0, 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. This is the indexing here we have in this number. Print index and then value. Vendors. Can we have something like this? We can print the index and values both together. Yeah, sorry. Right. Vendors. Is there any spelling mistake? No, spelling mistake is not there. I want to print out the index number 1, 2, 3, and then I want to print the values also. Vendors. Inside this we have the X values. It's not picking up the index here. It's a string index X value, because I want it to be as inside the string, as a string. Cisco, Juniper, they are strings, so that's why we have this number. But inside this we have vendors. If I print it out like this, because it's a list, so it must print Cisco, Juniper, Palo Alto, Checkpoint, and all this. No, even it's not case sensitive. Sorry. What? Print dot format. Yeah. Not here. Yes, sorry. That's the small mistakes we have here. So either you can put F, or it means that format. So this time you see we have the for loop inside this list, and we can print it out. Index 0 value Cisco, index 1 value Juniper, index 2, because we have to format the values this time. So we can print it like this also. We can run the for loop on our vendors list, or it can be a tuple, and in this case you can see that each index is print out with their values. Let's say we have vendor Cisco, Juniper. So Cisco is at index 0. So that's how we can also, you know, we have learned that it always start from 0. So we have a verification for this, that the index number always start from 0, because this time with the help of this for loop we are able to verify that thing, or that rules we have discussed, because you see that it's starting from 0 in this case. It's starting from 0 in this case. Make sense, guys? I've started the recording, right? Okay. So we can have for loop here. We have while loop also, but here today we'll just See the for loop concept. If you want to have values from the user, you can ask the values from user also. Yes, please. This basically, this X is used to denote these values inside it. This is like, in mathematics, we consider that X is equal to 10. So we are considering something, or we have a value, we consider it as something, right? Let's consider X is this, Y is this. So likewise, what I'm doing here, I'm just want it to run number of times. So X number of times, N number of times. So it can be ABC, okay? It can be XYZ also. So you can specify it that for how many times you want to run the for loop. So I want to run for loop for X times. First, what will be the X? Cisco. Then what will be the X? Juniper. Then what will be the value of Palo Alto? Checkpoint, HP, Dell. So this X will be assigned values in this. Just a second. Just a second, yeah. So first of all here in this we have X, right? So in this case the for loop will be executed, and first of all for X the value it will be Cisco. Then for X it will consider the value as Juniper. Then again it will run the for loop. The value will be checkpoint. The value will be HP, and then value will be Dell. So that's, you can, it can be anything, okay? So you can consider it as, you can give it as ABC. You can get ABC also. So you can define any value here. This is just a random number. Kavya Chaudhary is joining now. Okay. Yeah. So you want to have a specific value, right? So you want to print what? You want to have Juniper Palo to what? Okay. Let's say for X in range, because this time we have to use the indexing option here, length. So the list is vendors. In this X you have to use the range, and range is defined through the length because we have items in this. Okay, so you have to use the colon in the last. Then you can put if else condition. If X is equal to for Juniper the number is 1, right? You can say print vendors X. So this time if I'll run this, it will print out Juniper. In this case we have a range in which we have defined it through length, so it will be defining because the range is not specific this time. So I want to run it on range. In vendors we have a length. How many items do we have in this? If I simply do this, if I simply print length vendors, if I say print it out, oh sorry, it is printing out the length is 6, right? Hello. So I want to use it that okay, you have to run the for loop on the range of the vendor's length, but you have to stop at x if is equal to 1. So it will say, okay, 0 is Cisco, 1 is Juniper. So if I'll say print vendors x, so it will just print out Juniper this time. So this is how you can get a specific value from a list. Okay. Yeah. So you have to try all these things. You have to try all these variations in this. Okay. As long as you'll keep trying, as long as you guys will be curious to know about, you'll keep learning Python. A lot of things are there. All right. Let's say if I want to find a specific item, that if that item exists in my list or not. I just want to find out that an item exists in my list or not. That's how you are just managing an inventory, let's say. And in that inventory in the database, you want to check that is this item in the database or not, or is this item is in inventory or not. You can also use that option. So here you can use for, let's say, give it a name item. Okay, in vendors, if item is equal to what, if item is equal to checkpoint, print item found. If I'll run this script, what it's printing is item found. If I ask this to find Intel, let's say, if I'll run this script, are we getting anything printed out here? Why? Because what it will do, it will run for loop in this vendor list. First it will check Cisco, Juniper, Palo Alto, checkpoint. What I'm looking for? Intel. Else print not found. How many times it's printing it out? 5 times. Sorry, because it'll run it how many times? It will run it 6 times again. So it will print not found, not found, not found, not found. So you can run, or you can just get a specific value from the list. There's a lot of options, guys. There's a lot of for loop options, or not for loops. Inside for loop we can use if else condition also for items in vendors. Okay, I can find it out something if it is start with a specific name. Let's say item dot, we have an option in Python starts with, I can put a value if the name start with P, or if the name start with C, let's say. Print item. I have an option here, starts with in Python. String object has no attribute starts with. It's not a string. It is a list. For item it's in vendor, if items dot, it is supported. Line 4. No, right? It should be C. In some cases it's supported, guys. It's not supporting this time, but it is supported in Python. We have this item dot starts with, because at the time of writing it also giving us option. If I say item dot, see, starts with. Basically it finds out if any value has any character. So let's see if I want to check if something start with C or not. So in this we have C start with Cisco, and we also have checkpoint, right? There are two vendors whose name start with C. So if I want to check something start with that or not, so I can check it. I can put a condition here, but it's not in the mood, I think, because it works in Python, but right now it's giving us an error message that string object has no attribute start with. Do you mean start? Is there any spelling mistake? What was the mistake? Starts. Okay. That's what happens with spellings. So starts with. There was a spelling mistake, guys. That's why like it works, and we have the latest Python, so it must work here. Print items. This time, if we'll print out, let's clear this output. So it will print out two options only: Cisco and checkpoint. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, you see, because what I said, I want to have the items who starts with C. So it C starts with Cisco as well as checkpoint. Okay. Make sense? Hello. Okay, guys. So we will wrap up here today.